Hi, Hatsiri here one more time with another book recommendation. This is Morning Reads with me. So this one is called Tantric Yoga and the Wisdom of Goddesses. It is a very interesting book because it talks about Tantric Yoga, and when we here in the US of the A hear about Tantric Yoga, we immediately go to sex, which is no necessarily is not what this book talks about. So the first part of the book explains what is and what is not tantric yoga and the difference between the yoga that we know here as tantric sex and the other part of tantric sex, which is white tantra. It talks a little bit about Buddhism and the relationship between Tantra yoga practices and Buddhism practices. And then it goes into a chapter where it talks about goddesses. And it talks about Kali, Tara, Tripura Sundari, Bhuvaneshvari, Bhairavi, Chinnamasta, Dhumavati, Bagala Mukti, Matangi, and Kamalamika or Kamala. It's a whole chapter about each goddess, and it tells you about what we see on the image. It describes the color, the meaning of everything. If the goddess has something in her hands, it describes what it is and explains what it is. If the foot is down, if the foot is up, if the foot is touching water, or it goes through everything. It tells you the mantras, the meaning, and it tells you what every goddess, what other names and what other deities relate to. What I can tell you really quickly, just to summarize, is going to be very simple, is the first word of the chapter. Kali is the goddess of transformation. Tara is the goddess of salvation. Tripura Sundari is the goddess of beauty, but is the beauty in being able to see the universe reflected on us, nature, the true beauty of nature reflected on us, and the beauty of consciousness reflected inside of us. Bhuvaneshvari is the goddess of the universe, the goddess of space. Bhairavi is the warrior goddess, and she is the destroyer of limitations. Chinnamasta is the goddess of consciousness beyond the mind. Dhumavati is the eldest of the goddesses and is the destroyer of ignorance. So ignorance in yoga, as we all know as yoga practitioners, is the ignorance of attachment, ignorance of ego, ignorance of desire. Bagala Mukti or Bagala Mukhi is the controller or the conqueror of our selves or senses or desires and or attachment. She's the goddess of control and conquer ourselves. Matangi is the goddess of thought, and thought as in being able to listen without being interrupted by the ego and the mind. And then Kamala Mika or Kamala is the goddess of love and beauty. But again, is the beauty within ourselves, the beauty of love for ourselves. We as yogis believe that, or we live by rule number 1 of the yamas and niyamas, and that rule is do no harm. So it always starts with ourselves. And then at the very end of the book, it talks about tejas, prana, and ojas, how to build tejas, prana, and ojas. And tejas is our internal capacity for Speech and transformation is the power of fire, but it's the spiritual energy of fire. It's about self-expression, it's about growth. Tejas is related to speech and the energy of our will. Is related to Udanavayu, which moves up from Muladhara to the heart. And it's about clear speaking and our capacity to articulate ourselves, being able to really say what we mean to say in a way where no ego is involved. Is the habit that weakens Tejas is gossip. So we have to be careful not only what we take in, but what we say out. The words we take in are food for Tejas, so we have to, that's why yogis put a lot of emphasis into the food that you receive through the five senses. What are you hearing? What are you watching? What are you smelling? What are you eating, talking, touching? The words that we say and the intention that we use. Now, this is a big one. This is a big one because some of us are not necessarily aware of the intention. When we say our words, we are not aware of the intention of our words. So the intention that we house behind saying everything that we're saying, are you saying a sarcasm with the intention of hurting? Are you giving a pep talk to somebody and your intention is to build a bridge or to win? So those are things that would build or weaken Tejas. It talks about deities, meditation methods, herbs, diet habits, and gems that build up Tejas, Ojas, and Prana. The mantra for Tejas, if we're trying to build up Tejas, is going to be Hrim Hum. Hrim Hum. H-R-I-M-H-U-M. Hum. And then we're going to go to Prana. Prana is also the spiritual energy of breath and air. We yogis understand that prana is breath, prana is life, prana is energy, expansion, and control of the senses, or ability to control our desires without frustration. So it's controlling the desires without frustration. It's control of the senses and being able to sit with the discomfort of the vibration of the negative emotion in the body with awareness on the breath, with the intention of releasing the emotion. So I'm going to say it again. Control of the senses and pratyahara, which prana takes us to, the breath, the breath awareness takes us to, is being able to sit. This is going to be in meditation, or just sit, really sit, like completely sit on a chair, or just sit on the floor, anywhere. Being able to sit with the discomfort of the vibration that negative emotions bring to the body. So this is when all of us struggle, when we have addictions, when we have alcohol addiction, sugar addiction, overeating addiction, TV, anything. We don't know how to sit with the feelings, so we always go and do that thing that we do. So we sit with the negative emotion, the negative vibration of the emotion, with awareness in the body and the breath, with the intention of releasing the vibration of the emotion. The most important thing is to direct the energy of the breath up and down the spine. Up during the inhale, down during the exhale. Now there are other 100,084 million meditation techniques. Yes, do whatever you want. This is what this book says. Keeping prana in the spine calms the mind, centralizes our energy, and facilitates peace of mind. The mantra for prana is going to be Soham. So on the inhale, Ham on the exhale. I am prana, the self of intelligence. I am prana, the self of intelligence. And then third one is Ojas, and Ojas is the spiritual energy of water. And this is kind of what it builds our ability to have good health. It's mainly increased with the right diet, right mindset, and preservation of sexual energy. Peace, faith, devotion, modesty, patience, compassion, perseverance, and endurance are all of the emotions that build up ojas or physical well-being. All of these things that I mentioned, peace, faith, devotion, modesty, compassion, patience, perseverance, and endurance, are the feminine qualities of surrendering and openness. The ability to concentrate, dharana, is we center our attention in the heart rather than the mind. We center our attention in the heart. The mind is dominated by the senses. So once we understand that the mind is dominated by the senses, and our true self and our true actions are always gonna come from the heart, then we are building ojas. We surrender. So this being acting from the heart center is about surrender or desire for attachment. Desire brings emptiness, and that drains ojas. The mantra for ojas is Om Ram, O-M or A-U-M, Aum, and Ram. So this is the book. You know, I'm talking pretty much about, I didn't say anything about the beginning. I didn't give any explanation about the beginning. I told you one little thing about all the goddesses that appear in the book, and I told you literally the information that is in like a quarter of a page at the end of the book. Amazing book is this one right here, Tantra Yoga, and the writer is Dr. David Frawley. That's his picture right there. We love him. I love the beard. Okay, so that's my other book recommendation. And then next I am reading Pilates Anatomy. Yay! Okay, so I took a Pilates. Marvin, tranquilízate. No, Marvin, quieto, acuéstate, duérmete otra vez, ándale, duérmete, ven. So I'm reading this book for my Pilates teacher training. It's gonna be interesting. It's all about anatomy. I don't know what I'm gonna tell you about it. But I'm going to tell you something. Otherwise, I'll make it up. Thank you so much, Hat City. Morning reads. And yes, this is how I sleep.